I am near the Tiananmen Square in preparation for the military parade that is going to be taking place on September 3rd. So I know I didn't communicate with you for the last few days, beside the jet lags and so forth. But in any event, I am here, very, very excited to be at Beijing, my first time here. Very interesting, very busy city. But of course, with now the preparation for the parade, so kind of it's a little hectic here, traffic-wise and so forth. But the locals here, they don't mind, and so I'm planning on staying here for a few days. There are few spots that I would like to visit, few sites, if I may use the term. Let me just put my to make sure I can hear, to make sure that you guys can hear me first of all. So I intend to visit the Forbidden City, of course, the Great Wall, the Badalin, only the section of it, because it's. I was reading yesterday about the wall. I mean, the history of this civilization, it's beyond what we can. I mean, we can read all we want, but till you grasp the depth of how connected everything is. For example, when I read about the wall, that even some historians now saying it goes way back, even before what was recorded, which took them about 200 years to build. And all this became not only a symbol for the Chinese country, but also as a sort of a defense mechanisms, given what took place with the Japanese later on in modern times. So, and I will get into that soon. So, as you know, today is the end of the SCO, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Yeah, they were made in Tianjin. Interesting city. Why is this? Is because Tianjin, as of last year, had about the trade between China and the SCO was about 98 billion yuan, the equivalency of about 12 billion US dollars. So that's substantial. Why is this? Is a highlight to you the importance of now the SCO, the role it is playing. It's no more than just a security alliance or organization or a bloc. It's moving into the economic sphere of where things are headed, and given the changes that's going on. So when you consider the summit that is just concluded, as I said, is concluding today in Tianjin, and the whole of head of states that they've been visiting. Interesting, I took one interest in one specific country, and this one is Nepal, and how the foreign minister of Nepal, during his private meeting, one-on-one delegation with President Xi Jinping, they focused on two key things. One is security, and the other one is infrastructure. And I am starting to sense, you all remember last time when we talked about, for example, the country of Bhutan, and Bhutan we need to do sort of gain independence from India, if I may, to sort of diminish the influence of the Indian government there. Nepal seems to be moving into that direction, and China, it is my belief that is going to be helping them out for that. So, suffice it to say, the reception that I watched the news here in Chinese, of course, but I listened to the English version of it. The reception of it is very, very important. It come at a crucial time in the global, on the global stage, given not only the tensions between the U.S. and China and economic stuff and so forth. It also highlighted the importance of where the next trajectory of the world is headed, and to what degree the Chinese government is going to play a role in really not influencing or controlling that, but rather playing a role into it, so in moving it forward. And this is where I believe the importance of an organization like the SCO will make more sense for them to expand the developments that's going on. So let me show you here one of the main building here. So this is not in. This is like a walk area here. That's very, very the heart of Beijing here. And Tiananmen Square is on the other side, if you could just notice here. So it's a big area, very, 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 very big area. So I'm gonna go this direction here first, then rotate up. Okay, here we go. So let's talk about the upcoming military parade. Why is this important? Of course, I never disclosed to you that I was coming to this. That was my surprise for you, because I wanted to attend, which I will attend, the military parade in Tiananmen. I'm staying close by in the area, within about 4 kilometers. And the reason I want to see, not only to commemorate, of course, the 80th anniversary of the end of fascism, and it's an interesting history about this, and I'm gonna get into it. But also wanted to see the new military hardware China has to display. Usually, this opportunity of military parades, it's not meant for that, but nonetheless, I do not believe China will not sort of take an advantage of this occasion to showcase its modernization of some of its weapons, and rightly so. So it's a military parade after all. But suffice it to say that the whole purpose of this, as I said, is to commemorate the 80th anniversary. Now, a lot of us Americans have no idea as to what took place and the role that China played during World War II. Because here is the thing, it's been always mentioned, oh, it's America that won World War II. That is a lie. It is not true. I remember when I was teaching the graduate program for international relations, and I will ask them that question. And I said, okay, let me ask you a question. Who won World War II? And the majority will say, well, Dr. O, it was the US. And I said, not necessarily. You're gonna have to understand the role other countries have played into this. And my reference was at that time, and today I'm gonna detail more for you, it has to do with the role China played. It's almost, I feel like, it's the forgotten ally. Because it was the US and China together that defeated the fascism. And this is where the problem for us, that we manipulate in history by saying we're the one who won World War II. No, because what the Chinese sacrificed is beyond your wild imagination. And I'm gonna give you an example here. So I'll take you back to 1930, 1931. Why is this important? Because it was during this time when the Japanese started to move into the northeast part of China. Very, very, very crucial time. And the atrocities that were committed. I watched yesterday a documentary, and I really choked. It takes a while for me to do that, but I choked. Why? Because I found out one of the atrocities among many that the Japanese committed was the rape. And the rape of young girls as young as 8 years old and as old as 65 to 70. I mean, I just can't wrap my head around it. You know, the rape case against 8-year-old. But again, not only that, it's the atrocities that the Japanese have committed towards that. And that was 1931. This is why the wall means a lot to China, because it played a role into this. And one thing the Chinese were able to achieve, you know what, is the resiliency. That's how they were end up, because the Japanese lost about, they were bogged down by about 1 million plus or something like that. And they couldn't defeat the Chinese. The Chinese resiliency of them, that's probably what kept them going. And that was 1931, 1932. Then you move into 1937. Why 1937? Does anybody know? Let me see if you can type in the chat box. What is the main event that took place in China in 1937 vis-a-vis the Japanese? Let me see if anybody can write it there, if you happen to know. No, I don't see any, so I'm gonna move on with the conversation here. It was the Nanjing massacre that the Japanese committed. Nanjing massacre was a horrible. Oh, here's some of you. Pardon me. Some of you are writing here. The rape of Nan. Yes, you got it. You guys got it. So you are aware of the history. Most of us Americans do not even know. They don't even know about the massacre that took place in Nanjing. And here is where you see the manipulation of history. Why is this important? It's because if I am to tell you, when you think about atrocities, what comes to your mind? The Holocaust, right? What about the Nanjing massacre that took place? It was for a reason, because the reason why you hear more about the Holocaust, but not about the Nanjing massacre. So the idea is, because with the Cold War, the mindset has changed and the US turned on the United States. Remember, it was the US and China working together to defeat fascism. And right after the Cold War, we turned on them. This is where I always say, you do not trust the collective West. And this pertains to what's going on with Iran right now, which, by the way, I appreciate you answering the survey question regarding UK, Germany, France trying now to impose sanctions on Iran. And I asked you the question, should Iran even withdraw from this and forget about this NPT, or even cooperating? And 93% of you said yes. So thank you for participating in that. Now, to understand this history of the atrocities committed by Japan, and by the way, which was not disclosed openly, is that the Japanese government recently was lobbying for the boycott of attending, sort of lobbying other countries not to attend the events. I saw the list of the countries attending. The head of state, the North Korea, Kim Jong is here already from North Korea. So funny, because yesterday I was trying to tweet something on X, and it shows my location, North Korea. So, but anyway, on a serious note, this is where you need to understand where things are headed as far as why this commemoration is very, very important. This is, by the way, I'm going to show you a building for WWII, the company. Right there, guys. That's WWII. It's the big corporation. And speaking of, and I'm going to get into talking about AI and all that. So it's very, very important to understand. So, Nanjing Massacre. And again, I'm going to stay in the shade here. I'm gonna move into this direction. Let me see what because you can't cross right. Oh, let me go to the sidewalk here, and I will cross. So interesting, guys. You see, as I mentioned to you, you see WWII right there. Yeah, you see it, and in front of it, across the street, you see Apple. You know, and on the other side, you see Nike. So that tells you, why am I sharing this? It tells you how much the American corporations need the Chinese market, whether they want to admit it or not. So suffice it to say, to go back to the Nanjing massacre, because it's very important to understand. Actually, I need to cross quickly. Sorry, guys. They are very strict, not strict, but they respect the law. And when it turns red, you need to cross the street. So I'm gonna walk towards the Tiananmen Square from here, if I can get closer, because I think they sealed off certain areas in preparation for tomorrow. So this is where, excuse me, just to go back to the idea of the Nanjing massacre. I had to read up more on it. I'll admit it, didn't know a lot of details about it. And again, so how many Chinese were sacrificed for that? And yet, history sort of is not, especially written by the West, is not being kind to the Chinese as to the sacrifices they've made. And I quite don't understand why the double standard. So we're talking about the Holocaust, but we're not talking about Nanjing massacre. And it was as horrible as what it was in Auschwitz. And I've been there. I went to Poland, and I remember last time I took Michael there because my son, I took him to see with his own eyes. So I'm gonna bring him to China and take him to the wall of memories in Nanjing because he needs to see that side also to understand. And this is one of the downside of why we are so poor readers of history, because we don't understand the ins and outs. There is right now a major movie right here in China. I don't know if they're gonna allow it in the US. May expose really the devastating atrocities the Japanese committed. So, and again, when I say Japanese, let's be fair, guys. We're not talking about the civilians here. We're talking about those who were in charge of the government. So, but even the current government, which I'm no favor of, because they're trying to boycott, as I said, trying to rally other countries not to attend. Well, you can't hide history. Like I always say, truth matters. And that's what's going to be a part of the reality of it, whether they like it or not. So now, when you put all and I'll try to do live for you. I don't know if they will be okay to do it during the parade, because you gotta I gotta be respectful of the. I'll ask the authorities here just to make sure there will be no issues there whatsoever. It's like yesterday. I got on a high-speed train from Shanghai to Beijing, 4 and 15 minutes, 460 kilometers an hour. And the first word that came to my mind was, why aren't we having one like this? Why are we wasting our tax dollars on sending it to a corrupted Ukraine and so forth, instead of building the country, which is exactly what China's been doing. And the reason I didn't do sort of a short video from the train, because it says right there, please be respectful of other passengers and keep the noise down. So I didn't want to talk loud inside the cabin. But it was incredible speed, 460 kilometers from Shanghai to Beijing, took me about 4 hours. And the train departed at, it says 11:53. I looked at the watch, 11:53. It's just impressive. You know, those kind of things reflect really where the country is moving forward. So, and as I always say, you call a spade, you see where the development is going. So now I wanted to tie all this to one particular point, and I'm gonna sign off here and keep going. And I will do more live now that I'm over jet lagged and all that stuff. So, and I didn't want to say much because I wanted to keep it a surprise for you that I was gonna attend the military parade right here in Beijing. So there is another dimension that is going on regarding the US-China relations. One that is now really, it's coming to the forefront, but nobody knows about, and it's quiet for now. I'm familiar with a guy by the name John Meter. John Meter is he's an analyst with the Rand Corporation, and he's an advisor to the Pentagon and all that stuff. But anyway, they were talking about the AI, artificial intelligence. And why is this important? It is important because it is a hidden war that is really raging between the United States and China regarding the AI. And why? Because whoever developed the high-type models of the AI will control the strategic decisions of the future wars. That is my point. So this is where the difference. This is, I think. By the way, I'm going to show you. It's well known here in China for breakfast. They make those ones here. So she makes fresh one there. Yeah, she's waving here. So unfortunately, I can't buy anything because I have to hold this and talk at the same time. Make sure. So to go back to the AI, yes, there is a major, as I said, a hidden war that is going on. The U.S. is putting so much money following the meeting that took place of APEC the Asia-Pacific Economic Corridor that took place in South Korea on August 4th. I know I didn't do a video for you guys, but I just didn't get to it. But why is this important? Because at that time, the United States was trying to convince the Asian nations by saying, hey, you need to buy our own model. You know, that's gonna help you in certain sectors like healthcare. Okay, well, of course, we're gonna charge them arms and legs for that, you know, let alone one other thing is that the models that the US is doing are closed systems. And a lot of people do not understand the difference between the traditional AI, okay, which what it was intended to begin with to solve a specific type of problems. And you have now the generative AI. They call them the AGI, the artificial general intelligence, AGI. So now these models are very advanced to the point that even researchers themselves cannot guarantee that this model is gonna behave the right way. This is what I'm saying. The hidden war that exists between Washington and Washington and Beijing right now regarding AI has to do with who's going to develop the better model that is going to have a strategic decisions regarding future wars. It's already other countries are welcoming the Chinese model. Why is that? Because the Chinese model is open system. Remember DeepSeek? When DeepSeek came out, it raised an alarms inside the halls of Congress. And that is where the difference, why other countries are willing to consider the Chinese model. And it is my belief that the Chinese model is going to end up winning. Why? Because the US models requires licenses. So we all know what it means. It's almost like the F-35s. We control certain, what's the word I'm looking for? Not a keyword. Oh, I draw a blank on the word. I don't know what it is. So anyway, that's the example I'm trying to provide you here. And this is exactly why I believe the Chinese model, it's gonna be, and that's where that hidden fight regarding technology, because it's no longer that argument that's been repeated in Washington is that, oh, Chinese, all they do is imitate. No, they're not. They are innovating. I'm seeing things here. I went yesterday to a particular place where they have the electronics and so, I mean, stuff that I saw couldn't believe. And it's no longer about imitating, it's about innovation. And I think that's where the struggle for the United States is regarding this. And most countries in Asia now are moving into the direction of, like I said, when I read the report about the SCO meeting, you have Vietnam, you have Cambodia, you have Laos, you have Nepal, you have all the regional countries in Asia here sort of moving towards with China economically instead of worrying about what the United States is going to say, because they're not going to care. Let me show you here. I don't know what this is. No, it's just some... So this is where... I don't know how many of you are familiar with Wang Fu Center or Century. I'm going to show you the building. Right there, that's Wang Fu Century. It's well known here in Beijing. So. Beijing is very, 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 very busy city. I think that's the, let me see here. Let me show you. I don't think so. I can get in there. They won't allow that. I'm gonna go and ask if I can walk in there to show you. That's part of, I think, the Tiananmen Square, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. I'm gonna ask them. And am I allowed to go? No, they don't allow this one here. You can't go down there. So that's basically where they're gonna have the what you see, guys, here is where the parade, I think, is going to be passing all the way from that side, and is going all the way here to the other side, and I think it goes around. So, but there are certain areas you can't get in, so that's part of that's just part of how. All right, I'm gonna go back here. So that is what I wanted to just share with you. I will be doing more lives, as I said. I just needed to settle a few days and take a break mentally. Believe me, I slept last night for like about 11 hours. So sometimes it's just what the body needs, But it's all good here. There is this idea of understanding. One thing I wanted to share with you, because you're my community and I share everything with you. So there is one thing I feel in this town here. It's like power. Power, not in the sense of dominance, in the sense of this is where the gravity, the center of gravity for power on the global stage, it rests right here. That's really what I sense. And again, I sense it not because I'm here. I sense it because of what I see coming. And I noticed, like, for example, those meetings. I watched the Chinese news here with the pictures of the arrival of those head of states and how the interaction was, the body language between President Xi Jinping and the other foreign leaders. And so it gives me that feel of this is where you feel that gravity, the power here, right here, it's going to be. And that led me to one key question, and that key question is, what role will China play in the new global order? And this is something that is worth understanding, because no matter what Washington thinks, Beijing is going to play a role in the new, or they're already playing a role into the new trajectory of the global order, whether we like it or not. So, and this is where you're seeing now we are moving our focus to Africa, because we're concerned. We are very concerned. Of course, you all know the story. I'm not going to be beating the dead horse. We already talked about all this before. So, let me see if I have any question from you. I'll be happy to answer one or two from you before I sign off here, and we'll just go from there. I have to have my reading glasses, and I can read. Riding a motorcycle is better. At least you get to see the city in a short period of time. That is true. You can ride those. I thought about it just for the sake of experience. But again, I walk. I walk a lot, so I don't mind. For me, I use they have what they call Didi, the one where you can call for like the equivalency of Uber. I call on those if the distance is so long. But also the time of the year, it's very, very humid and hot. But it's getting better. It's getting better. So let me see if there is any question from you here before I sign off. And what time is it right now in Beijing? It is about 10:30. Of course, I can look at it through the phone because I have the stream on. So. Yeah, but it's around 10:30 because I got up early this morning at 7 o'clock. I'm gonna show you traditional Chinese ladies' clothing. So look at that. But I'm gonna ask. So this is the traditional. Let me. Excuse me. Can I show you? Can I show you on the picture with this dress? She said, okay. So this is the Chinese tradition. That's the lady dressed in with the hat, and I don't know the name of it. So the hat, that's a special type of them. She has what you call the waver in her hand, and the dress with the necklace. Necklace is long, and so that is the traditional Chinese dress, and it has the patterns. If you notice the patterns on all this, so,谢谢. Yeah, I have to ask permission. I don't like to just show. And they're very friendly. I noticed most of the Chinese I interacted with, they're really so helpful. I had someone, literally, one lady helped me on a metro. I missed my directions for that. And she saw me, it's like, do you need help? I said, yes. I kind of need this particular location. She really walked me through and said, here's what you need to do. You get off here, you get this line, get connecting line there, then it should lead you to where you are. And that was, for no reason, just a foreigner getting lost and somebody wants to help. So very, it's a positive energy you feel when you walk around here. No judgment, no whatsoever. And so I'm very thankful. And speaking of that, I want to take this opportunity to say thank you to the community, because I am here because of you. You are the one who funded this trip, and I'm proud of it, and I speak loud of it because of you, because of the community. That's why I'm here. Sorry, I missed the question. It was a question. If you can repost the question again, please, so I can answer it. So I'm here because of the community that funded this trip. I had a different plan for what I was gonna go. I just couldn't make it. Being curious always benefits someone. Stay in China. Dr. O, are you going to try eating dumpling? Of course, I will try those ones. Speaking of stay in China, I found out that I couldn't get into Fudan University. They closed it because of the military training they had, so it was closed to civilians or outsiders. So I'm gonna have to wait till next week. Since I'm gonna be here for a few more days, I'm gonna see if I can request permission to visit Peking University. So Peking University is another well-established. Tsinghua University is also a major one here in Beijing. So far, I have my sights on 3 of those universities. One of them is Peking University, Tsinghua University, Fujian, and the 4th one is Nanjing University. You'll be surprised to learn about the role of Nanjing University. Let me see. BRICS together stronger. That is indeed. And I'm still, sorry to say, I know some think I'm very harsh on India, but I'm still doubting. I have my question marks about India, and I will always remain with that. I met some Indian people here and I asked a few questions, and you can tell they are fed up with. Here is another Chinese dress. The ladies coming here. I'm going to show you this one. And again, I don't know what it is. I don't speak Chinese, but that's just the traditional clothing for all this. So she dressed that way. Now, yeah, they dressed with this traditional. That's usually, and I think they come in from some other parts of. There are a lot of visitors here coming from different regions of the. Okay, let me read here. The most notable example. It goes away. It goes away. You know, it doesn't stay on the screen here. So a lot of breakfast here. They have the traditional Chinese. Also going. The Qin Dynasty traditional clothing. That's what it is. Oh, thank you for sharing that. I didn't know. And it's popular about SEO. Yeah, not yet. I'm gonna be having a major conversation with a think tank here in Beijing, in addition to some other entities. I'm not disclosing any names right now because they requested if I could do some interviews, and I say sure, since I'm here. So I will consider doing that one. For the role of BRICS, and I see the SCO moving into that direction with the trade volume that is now moving up. So this is again where I see, wow, that was Japanese dress? I didn't know that. So I'm gonna ask someone about those, because I want to make sure. So I'm gonna share that. Once again, guys, I'm gonna wrap this up, and I just want to say thank you so much for supporting this trip. As I said, I had a different plan. I was going to the west side of China, but we didn't reach the target funding for that. So I might leave that for next year. Apparently, I will be coming next year. I'll take this opportunity also to say thank you to that special donor Really, I mean, if you only guys know, unfortunately I can't disclose the name because I wasn't given the authorization. And those people are not interested in, it just, he said, no, it's okay, you enjoy. And so I'm very, very grateful to that person. And I want you to know, I will pay it forward, moving forward. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed listening to a little bit of history about Nanjing, a little bit of history about what this commemoration of the military parade means for the Chinese culture here. So, and I look forward to sharing with you more information as I move forward. All right, guys, you take care. As always, please hit the like button and remember, where am I? Here am I. And remember to subscribe if you have not done so. I will greatly appreciate it. As always, remember, geopolitics impacts your daily life in more ways than one. Till next time, bye-bye.